Why would you stop now, after everything you've already endured? Think about that for a second. After all the sleepless nights, the setbacks, the battles you fought in silence, after all the people who counted you out. Now you're thinking about quitting. Why? Because it's hard? Because it hurts? Because the dream feels too far away? But wasn't it hard in the beginning too? And yet, you showed up. You moved forward. You didn't quit then. So what's changed? Not the mission, not the goal, only the pressure, only the pain. But pain has never been your enemy. It's been your teacher. You weren't born to break. You weren't built for average. You were shaped by struggle, molded by rejection, forged in moments just like this, when the world seems to push back and something deep inside you has to decide, do I fold or do I fight? The truth is, most people quit right before their breakthrough. They get to the wall, they feel resistance, and they assume it means stop. But pressure doesn't mean stop, it means you're close. The mountain is steepest right before the summit, the night is darkest just before the dawn. But the ones who win, the ones who make it, they don't see the wall as a warning. They see it as a test. And maybe you're being tested right now, tested to see how bad you really want it, to see if you meant it when you said you'd keep going no matter what, to see if your dreams were just words, or if there's something you'd bleed for, sweat for, cry for. This moment, right now, is a crossroad. One path is easy. You already know what's down there. Comfort, distraction, regret. You don't have to fight anymore, but you also don't grow. You stay where you are. You settle. And deep down you'll always feel the weight of what could have been. The other path, it's steep, it's lonely, it's filled with doubt and setbacks. But it leads somewhere real, somewhere powerful. It leads to the version of you you've been chasing in your mind. The one who didn't back down, who didn't make excuses, who didn't wait for permission to rise. So you've got to decide. Not with words, but with action, with grit, with presence, with the kind of commitment that doesn't flinch when it gets uncomfortable. You've come too far to stop now. You've sacrificed too much. You've proven time and time again that when everything is against you, you still find a way forward. Don't forget how far you've come. Don't ignore the battles you've already survived. You didn't fight this hard to get halfway. You didn't build all this momentum to crash into the wall and walk away. You're in this for a reason. You started this for a reason. So don't let temporary pain kill a permanent purpose. Every second you stay in the fight, you're building something. Even when you can't see the results. Even when it feels like nothing's changing. Growth doesn't always make noise. Progress doesn't always come with applause. Sometimes it's just you showing up when no one's watching, refusing to give in. That's what greatness is. That's what winning looks like. Quiet, consistent, painful effort. The kind of effort that wears you down until one day it lifts you up. And it will. Maybe not today. Maybe not tomorrow. But if you keep moving, if you keep believing, if you keep going, you will see the reward. And that reward isn't just success. It's pride. It's power. It's the knowledge that you kept your promise to yourself. That when everything said quit, you said no. Or you said not yet. You said I'm not done. You're still breathing. That means you still have time. That means it's not over. That means you can still change the outcome. So get back in the fight. Stand up straight. Lock your eyes on the reason you started. And remind yourself, quitting is not an option. You owe it to yourself to see what happens if you don't give up. You owe it to the dream that's been pulling at your heart all this time. And if you're brave enough to keep pushing through this storm, what's waiting on the other side will be worth it. Every drop of sweat, every late night, every sacrifice. So if you're looking for a sign, this is it. This is your reminder. This is your moment. Why stop now? You didn't come this far by accident. There was something in you, a spark, a whisper, a vision, that said you were meant for more. And that voice didn't lie. It wasn't random. It wasn't a coincidence. It was truth rising inside you, waiting for you to act on it. So why are you hesitating now? Why question your journey when everything you've endured proves your strength? The world may not have seen the battles, but you lived them. You were there in the dark when nobody clapped for your efforts. You kept going when no one believed. That means you already have what most people spend their lives searching for: grit, hunger, heart. And that matters more than talent, more than luck. Because when things get hard, and they always do, it's not talent that keeps you going. It's not some perfect plan. It's the fire inside you, the one that refuses to die, the one that says, I'm not done yet. Every dream that ever became real was carried on the shoulders of persistence. Not perfection, persistence. The willingness to get back up when it's hard. The courage to move when fear says stay. That's what separates those who wish from those who become. And right now, you have a choice. You can feed doubt, or you can feed discipline. You can entertain fear, or you can strengthen faith. But you can't do both. The future you want doesn't live in hesitation. It lives in bold steps, in sacrifice, in daily action, even when motivation fades. Remember, no one else is going to hand it to you. No one is going to build the life you want for you. That's your job. That's your responsibility. And that's your power. Because if it's in your hands, that means you can change it. That means you're not stuck. You're not helpless. You're not lost. You're in control. Control doesn't mean comfort. It means ownership. It means you stop waiting for the right time, the right feeling, the perfect condition. You stop saying, I'll try, and start saying, I will. You stop hoping it happens and start working like it's already yours. Because if you act like it's yours, if you train, work, show up like your future depends on it, it does something to you. It changes your mindset. It shifts your identity. You stop acting like a person chasing success, and you start living like someone who expects it, someone who demands it of themselves. You can't fake that kind of commitment. You can't buy it. You earn it. You build it brick by brick, through pain, failure, sacrifice, and repetition. Every time you keep going when you want to quit, you lay another brick. Every time you ignore the noise and focus on the goal, you build the foundation. That's what greatness is built on. Quiet consistency, ruthless discipline, unshakable belief. And yes, there will be days when it doesn't feel worth it. Days when nothing goes your way. But those days aren't setbacks. They're strength builders. They're sharpening you, testing you, preparing you for something bigger than you can even imagine right now. Because you're not just chasing a dream, you're becoming someone new, someone stronger, someone wiser, someone who doesn't run from resistance, but rises through it. And the more you show up as that version of you, the more powerful you become. So don't ask how much longer. Don't ask when will it happen. Ask how much deeper can I go? How much more can I give? How much further can I push? Because the truth is, most people only scratch the surface of their potential. They stop at not good enough. They stop at tired. They stop when they get scared. But not you, not now. Now is the time you break that limit. Now is the time you show yourself what you're truly made of. You've come too far to give up average. You've seen too much to settle for small. Your story doesn't end in surrender. Your story isn't about almost. It's about overcoming. So breathe in the pressure, feel the weight of your dream, and move. Move like your future is calling your name. Move like the person you were born to be is just on the other side of this moment. Don't let the pain fool you. It's not here to stop you. It's here to reveal you. You already have the fire. Now you need the follow-through. You already have the reason. Now you need the relentless. You already have the vision. Now you need the fight. And if you keep going, if you keep showing up when it hurts, when it's hard, when it's lonely, you won't just reach the goal. You'll become someone who can never be stopped. So keep moving, keep pushing, keep believing. The world hasn't seen the best of you yet, but it will, if you refuse to quit. There's a reason you feel that fire in your chest when you hear the words keep going. It's not just motivation, it's recognition. It's your soul remembering who you are. You weren't made to stay where it's safe. You weren't built for comfort zones. You were created to rise, to stretch, to climb. And every time you take another step forward, even shaking, even broken, you prove that truth again. Most people never meet the version of themselves that lives on the other side of struggle. They tap out too early. They convince themselves it's not meant to be. But it's not about what's meant. It's about what you're willing to endure. It's about what you decide. Because nothing is promised. Nothing is given. But everything is possible when you refuse to quit. You've got to stop waiting for certainty. Stop waiting for perfect conditions. They don't exist. Growth happens in chaos. Strength is born in resistance. You don't get stronger by standing still. You don't become unstoppable by choosing ease. The transformation happens when you show up in the storm and keep moving anyway. This moment right here is defining you. Not when everything's going well. Not when the winds are pouring in. This moment, when it's hard, when you're tired, when you're second-guessing yourself. This is where the real you shows up. Not the one dressed in confidence and applause. The one who gets up off the floor when there's no one cheering. The one who chooses to believe, even when the world doesn't. That's who you really are. Every challenge you face is a mirror. It shows you what you're made of. It exposes weakness, yes, but it also reveals strength. It introduces you to power you didn't know you had. Pressure creates clarity, And right now, if you listen closely, you'll hear it, that quiet voice inside you saying, keep going. Not because it's easy, because it matters. There's a difference between a dream and a decision. A dream is a vision. A decision is a commitment. When you decide that you will not give up, no matter how long it takes, no matter how heavy it feels, something changes inside you. You stop looking for shortcuts. You stop asking what if it doesn't work, and you start asking what else can I give? That's when you become dangerous, because now it's not about motivation, it's not about hype, it's about identity. This is who you are, a fighter, a finisher, someone who stays in the game long after others have left, someone who builds when it's hard, someone who keeps faith alive in the silence. And that silence, it's not punishment, it's preparation. The quiet season is when the roots grow deep. It's where the foundation is laid. You don't see the reward yet, but it's coming. Keep showing up, keep watering the seed. One day, the results will show. And when they do, the world will call it overnight success. But you'll know better. You'll know the nights you almost gave up, the mornings you pushed through the pain, the days you chose faith over fear. No one becomes great by avoiding discomfort. They become great by stepping into it, by using it, by turning pain into fuel and failure into wisdom. Every setback you faced, every detour, every delay was shaping you, preparing you. Not to survive, but to lead. Not to settle, but to conquer. So, no, you can't stop here. Not now. Not when the fire is still burning. Not when your vision is still alive. That calling on your life wasn't random. That dream in your heart wasn't a mistake. You are here for a reason, and every obstacle in your path is part of that reason. You are not behind. You are not late. You are exactly where you need to be to rise. This is your season to build resilience, to master discipline, to step into the next version of you. The version who doesn't need to be pushed because the mission pulls them. The version who doesn't run from pressure but performs under it. That's the you the world is waiting for. But no one else can bring that version to life. That's on you, your daily choices, your attitude, your fight. And it starts now, not tomorrow. Not when you feel ready. Readiness is a lie. You become ready by showing up again and again, proving to yourself that you can. Every second you stay in the game, you're separating yourself from the crowd. Every step you take in discipline is a step away from regret. You've come too far to stop now. And more importantly, you haven't even scratched the surface of what's possible. So keep going, keep fighting, keep choosing growth over comfort. Your future is watching, your potential is waiting, and your legacy is being written, one choice, one effort, one relentless day at a time. Every step you've taken, every decision to keep moving when it would have been easier to quit, those moments weren't small, they were everything. You didn't just survive the struggle. You trained in it. You learned how to move through pain. You taught yourself how to lead your mind when it begged you to stop. That kind of strength isn't ordinary. That kind of strength is rare. You've built something most people never will, the ability to keep promises to yourself. And that's the most powerful force there is, because when the world doubts you, when the path gets dark, when no one is clapping, you've already trained for that. You don't need applause. You don't need approval. You've learned to move without it. Most people live in hesitation, in comfort, in fear of what might go wrong. They play it safe and call it smart. But you know better. Playing small doesn't protect you, it buries you. Comfort doesn't lead to peace, it kills potential. And fear doesn't keep you safe, it steals your future in silence. You weren't meant to blend in, you weren't made to follow the script. You were built to break through, to become someone even you didn't think you could be. And that's not a fantasy, that's a choice. One decision made every single day: I will not stop, I will not shrink, I will not settle. You may not see the full picture yet, but that's not your job. Your job is to keep showing up, to keep stacking bricks even when you can't see the building, to trust that the work you're doing now is shaping something bigger than the pain you're feeling. Progress doesn't always announce itself. Sometimes it looks like silence, like frustration, like repeating the same small habits day after day with no visible result. But that's the test. Can you keep going when nothing claps for you? Can you stay consistent without a guarantee? Because that's where breakthroughs live, right past the point where most people stop looking. You're being prepared for something greater, and the preparation isn't supposed to feel good. It's supposed to make you unshakable. It's supposed to stretch you, break the weak parts, expose the excuses, and build a version of you that can carry the weight of your dream. Nothing worth having comes without pressure. Growth demands discomfort. It demands patience. It demands self-leadership. That means you stop waiting for someone to push you and start becoming the one who pushes yourself. It means you stop asking, can I, and start declaring, I will. Because it's not just about achieving something, it's about who you become in the process. The result isn't the reward, the growth is. Becoming the person who finishes what they started, who doesn't run from resistance, who lives by discipline. That's the real victory. That's the legacy. You don't need more time. You don't need more advice. You need more action, more courage, more faith in your own ability to figure it out. And you've already proven you can. Look at how far you've come. Every time you felt broken and kept walking, you built that faith. Every time you fell and rose again, you earned that confidence. So let this be the moment you stop questioning yourself. You don't need permission. You don't need perfect timing. You just need to commit. Fully. No more halfway effort, no more almost, no more one day. This is your time, this is your shot, not a rehearsal, not a warm-up. This is real. And yes, it will hurt, but pain isn't the enemy. Regret is. And the pain of discipline today will never come close to the pain of wishing you had tried harder when the chance is gone. That's the pain that lingers. That's the pain that steals sleep. You don't want that. You didn't come this far for that. You came this far to finish, to rise, to step into a version of yourself that lives on the other side of pain, a version that walks with confidence because they earned it, one painful rep at a time. And that version is not out of reach. It's right in front of you, one decision away, one push away, one more day of not quitting. So keep building, keep breathing through the pressure, keep walking through the fire, not because it's easy, but because this is the price of becoming unforgettable. And if you keep going, if you keep believing, if you keep showing up with everything you have, you will win. Not by chance, not by luck, but by will, by heart, by relentless effort. Because you refuse to give up. You already know what it feels like to struggle. You already know the weight of doubt, the silence of setbacks, the sting of being overlooked. So don't let that be the end of your story. Let it be the reason you rise with more fire than ever before. Because nothing changes until you do. And everything changes when you decide you've had enough of average. You weren't created to just exist. You were built to evolve, to break barriers, to lead. But growth doesn't come from wishing or waiting. It comes from doing, from showing up when it's hard, from pushing through the resistance that tries to hold you back. That resistance isn't your enemy. It's your invitation. It's asking one question. How bad do you want it? And your answer has to be louder than your excuses, louder than your fears, because if you wait until you feel ready, you'll never move. If you wait until it's easy, you'll never start. Every breakthrough begins with a decision to act in spite of discomfort. And every day you choose to take that step, you train your mind to follow your purpose instead of your emotions. Most people give up not because they lack talent, but because they lack patience. They want results now. They want applause now. But greatness doesn't work on demand. It requires time, effort, repetition, the boring, unglamorous grind that no one sees. And it's in that grind that warriors are forged, quietly, relentlessly, without recognition. That's where your edge is created. You don't rise by doing what's easy. You rise by doing what's necessary, even when you're tired, even when you feel alone, even when no one believes in you yet, especially then. Because every time you show up when it's hard, you build proof, not for others, for yourself. Proof that you are the kind of person who finishes, who follows through, who keeps building even when the world goes silent. You can't fake that kind of resilience. You can't shortcut it. It's earned in private, in the hours no one talks about, in the moments when your mind screams for comfort and you choose discipline instead. That's what separates winners from wishers. That's what turns a dream into reality. You're not here to be remembered for what you almost did. You're here to leave no doubt, to silence every voice that said you couldn't, to become the living proof that struggle is not the end, it's the beginning of strength, the beginning of self-belief, the beginning of something extraordinary. And if the road feels lonely, if it feels like no one understands what you're trying to do, good. That means you're on the right path. Because the higher you rise, the thinner the air gets. Fewer people are willing to climb. Fewer people are willing to endure the pain that progress demands. But that's what makes it worth it. That's what makes you different. You weren't made to follow the crowd. You were made to lead yourself. And leadership isn't about titles. It's about actions, about mastering your habits, your thoughts, your focus, about doing what's required even when no one's watching. That's how you earn freedom. That's how you earn power. Not the kind they give you, the kind no one can take from you. You have everything it takes already inside you. Not because someone else said so, but because you've already proven it. You've survived every setback. You've climbed out of moments that tried to break you. You've carried yourself forward when everything told you to stop. That kind of strength isn't borrowed. It's built. And now it's time to use it. No more waiting, no more holding back, no more apologizing for how badly you want it. Let people misunderstand, let them question, let them laugh, but never let them stop you, because you're not here to impress anyone. You're here to fulfill something only you can do. And if you let fear silence that, the world misses out on what only you can bring. So show up with fire, with focus, with faith. Not the kind you hope with, the kind you fight with, the kind that says, I will not be moved, the kind that refuses to shrink just because it gets hard. Because nothing changes until you rise and say, enough is enough. I will not live beneath my potential. And when that switch flips, when your mind locks in and your actions align with your vision, there is no limit. You don't need to see the entire path. Just take the next step, and then the next, and then the next. Because the person who keeps moving cannot lose. Not forever. Not if they stay in the game. You've already come too far to stop now. So keep moving. Keep pushing. Keep becoming. Because every ounce of pain is shaping your power. Every moment of doubt is building your clarity, and every second you choose to continue is one step closer to the life you were born to lead. The battle isn't outside you, it never was. It's inside, always has been. That's where the real war is fought, not against the world, but against your own doubts, against the voice that whispers you're not enough, against the hesitation that keeps you still when your heart's begging you to move. And the only way to win that war is to refuse to let fear be louder than your purpose. You're not here to survive your life. You're here to master it, to own your days instead of letting them own you. Every time you wake up and choose effort over excuses, progress over comfort, you are taking back control. You're rewriting your future with every decision you make today. Because your future isn't something that happens to you. It's something you create, brick by brick, choice by choice. No one gets stronger by accident. You get stronger because you decide to, because you show up when you don't feel like it. Because you train your mind to keep going when it's easier to stay where you are. And when that voice of doubt rises again, and it will, you don't fight it with logic, you fight it with action, with movement, with repetition. That's how belief is built. You don't wait for confidence to act. You act your way into confidence. The people who win in this life aren't always the most talented. They're the most consistent, the most relentless, the ones who keep showing up long after the excitement is gone. Because success doesn't reward the most gifted. It rewards the most disciplined, the ones who live by standards, not feelings, the ones who've made up their minds that no matter how long it takes, no matter how many times they fall, they will rise again. You've got more inside you than you think, and the only way you'll ever see it is if you keep digging, keep pushing, keep showing yourself what you're made of, not just when things are going your way, but when everything seems to be working against you. That's when the growth happens. That's when the transformation begins. And it doesn't always feel good, but it's always worth it. Because every time you keep going when most would quit, you send a signal to your future, a message that says, I'm not backing down, I'm not built to break, I'm built to rise. And that future, your vision, your dream, your purpose, it begins to respond, it begins to move, not because it was handed to you, but because you earned it. This isn't about chasing motivation. Motivation fades. It's about building something unshakable. A fire inside that doesn't go out when the room goes cold. A drive that doesn't disappear when things get tough. That's what separates the ordinary from the unstoppable. That's what takes you from just surviving your circumstances to dominating them. You're not meant to be stuck. You're not meant to live in cycles of almost. You were designed for forward motion, for elevation. But that doesn't come from waiting for the right moment. It comes from deciding that now is the moment, that your time isn't somewhere out there in the distance, it's right here in your hands, ready to be built. And yes, people might not understand your drive. They might question your intensity, your hunger, your fire. Let them. That fire wasn't lit for them. It was lit for you, to remind you that you've got more to do, more to give, more to become. And you don't need their permission to evolve. You don't need their validation to chase what sets your soul on fire. This is your life, and no one else is going to fight for it the way you can. No one else is going to carry your vision. That's on you. And you can't afford to sleep on your own potential. You can't afford to let another day go by wishing, hoping, waiting, because every day you hesitate, your dream slips further away. And every day you move, it gets closer. This is what it comes down to. Are you willing to do what others won't? To live the life others can't? Are you willing to suffer for a little while, to gain something eternal? Are you willing to stay in the fight when every part of you wants to walk away? Because if you are, if you can find the strength to keep showing up, even broken, even scared, you'll discover what most never will. You'll meet the version of yourself who's unstoppable, who's resilient, who's relentless. And that version of you doesn't lose. That version of you turns every setback into strategy, every delay into discipline, every obstacle into opportunity. So hold the line, stay in the fight, keep the fire alive. Because the victory you're chasing isn't found at the finish line. It's forged in the steps you take to get there, one day, one decision, one unstoppable moment at a time. If you want to live a life that means something, a life that leaves a mark, then you have to be willing to pay the price most people avoid. Because there's a cost to greatness, a cost to freedom, a cost to building something real. And that cost is consistency, effort, sacrifice, the daily decision to do what's hard instead of what's easy. Too many wait for perfect conditions. They wait to feel ready. But what they don't realize is that waiting is the enemy of momentum. It drains your strength. It robs your time. It buries potential under the weight of hesitation. And if you're not careful, one day turns into 1 year. One excuse becomes a pattern. One compromise becomes a lifestyle. But not you. You've already come too far to fall back into that trap. You know now that the pain of discipline is temporary, but the pain of regret will haunt you. You felt that sting before. The ache of missed opportunities. The voice that asks, why didn't I give it more? And you swore you'd never feel that again. So now it's time to follow through. There's something powerful about showing up, even when no one's clapping. Something almost sacred about pushing forward when the world expects you to stop. That's when your character is revealed. That's when you find out who you really are, not when everything's working, but when everything's on the line, and you keep going anyway. You don't need more comfort. You need clarity. A crystal clear reason to keep grinding when it gets exhausting. A purpose so big it makes quitting feel like betrayal. And that reason has to come from within, not from applause, not from outcomes, but from the fire that says, I was made for more than this. I refuse to let potential die inside me. It's not about talent. It's not about luck. It's about hunger, about doing the work when no one's watching, about training your mind to rise above feelings, distractions, and excuses. Because you'll never rise higher than the standards you accept. And every time you lower the bar for yourself, you teach your mind that average is enough. It isn't. You've got a choice to make every single day. Either live by your excuses or live by your commitment. And you already know what each path leads to. One keeps you stuck, chasing shadows, living with the question of what could have been. The other takes everything from you, your time, your energy, your patience, but gives you everything in return. Peace, power, purpose. Don't let small moments make small people out of you. You weren't built for shallow living. You were built to go deep, deep into the discipline, deep into the process, deep into the work that no one else wants to do. That's where the gold is. Not in the spotlight, but in the shadows. Not in recognition, but in relentless repetition. And when it gets lonely, remember this. Not everyone is supposed to understand your journey. You're not chasing their version of success. You're chasing your own. So don't shrink to fit into their comfort zone. Don't water down your intensity to make others feel better about playing small. This isn't their race, it's yours. And you don't owe anyone an explanation for how hungry you are. You owe it to yourself to see what happens if you don't give up. You owe it to your future to fight through the days that feel unbearable. You owe it to the person you're becoming to stop playing at 50% when you were born to operate at full power. And you don't have to be perfect to do that. You just have to be consistent. Consistency beats perfection every time. This journey isn't about being the best in the world. It's about being the best for the world. About becoming so strong, so focused, so driven that your presence becomes proof that impossible is just a word. That pain is just a path. That dreams don't die. They just wait for the one who's willing to outlast the struggle. So show up, even when you're tired, even when you're broken, even when the results are slow. Because the process is working, even when you can't see it. The seed doesn't break the soil and bloom in one day. It grows silently, hidden, steady. And then one day, when the time is right, it breaks through. That's what your effort is doing now, building pressure, building strength, building the breakthrough that will change everything. You've been tested, you've been challenged, but you're still here, still breathing, still willing to fight. That means you're not done. That means the story isn't over. And the next chapter, it's written by what you choose to do now, not tomorrow. Not next year. Now. So rise, focus, lock in. You weren't made for maybe. You weren't made for average. You were made to move mountains, to silence doubt, to set fire to fear and walk through it anyway. And every step you take from here on out, let it scream, I will not stop. The words I will not stop are not just something you say, they're something you live, something you breathe into every action, every setback, every second of resistance. Because when your mindset is anchored in that kind of resolve, there is no storm strong enough to shake you, no failure heavy enough to break you. You become a force, a storm of your own, and the world begins to adjust to your presence, not the other way around. You weren't designed to back down. You weren't built to surrender. You were built to rise, to endure, to fight through the noise until your voice becomes impossible to ignore. But that only happens when you stop negotiating with weakness. When you stop letting your circumstances decide your value. The struggle doesn't disqualify you. It defines you. And the way you respond to pressure is the greatest proof of your purpose. Every single person who ever did something extraordinary started exactly where you are, uncertain, overwhelmed, full of doubt. The difference is they didn't stay there. They used the doubt as fuel. They turned their fear into discipline. They used every closed door, every rejection, every failure as a stepping stone instead of a stopping point. That's what you're doing now. Stepping forward when everything around you says sit down. Pushing through when most would retreat. The truth is, you don't become unstoppable by being fearless. You become unstoppable by acting in the face of fear, over and over and over again. Fear is not the enemy, it's a signal. It means you're on the edge of something important, something that matters, and the closer you get to that edge, the louder fear gets. But if you can learn to hear fear and move anyway, nothing can hold you back. Most people want change without challenge. They want victory without sacrifice, but real growth never comes without pain. Not because the pain is punishment, but because it's a purifier. It burns away the parts of you that can't come with you to the next level. The laziness, the doubt, the hesitation, all of it has to die so that the next version of you can be born. And that version of you, they're not average. They're not waiting for permission. They don't ask for guarantees. They create momentum. They lead themselves. They rise early when it's inconvenient. They show up when they're tired. They push harder when they feel like quitting, not because it's easy, but because they've made a decision, this is who I am now. You don't rise by pretending, you rise by becoming. And becoming is never a straight line. It's messy. It's frustrating. It's full of setbacks. But each time you get knocked down and decide to get up again, you harden your focus. You sharpen your will. You build a mind that refuses to bend to weakness. And that mindset? That's your weapon. Because in the end, it's not talent that separates the winners from the rest. It's mindset, grit, endurance, the refusal to accept anything less than what you were born to achieve. And that decision to keep climbing, to keep evolving, it creates a ripple effect. It changes how you walk, how you talk, how you treat your time. You stop chasing distractions and start building discipline. You stop waiting for motivation and start creating motion. This isn't just about pushing harder. It's about becoming clear on who you are, clear on what you want, clear on the price you're willing to pay, because clarity kills confusion. And once you know exactly what you're fighting for, your actions begin to align, your energy locks in, and you become a force no obstacle can contain. Don't let the noise of the world drown out the voice inside you. That voice is your compass. That fire is your signal. And yes, some days will feel heavier than others. Some days the voice of doubt will scream louder than your faith. But on those days, you don't run, you lean in, you dig deeper. You remind yourself of every reason you started, every promise you made, every hour you've already invested, because it matters. You matter. Your purpose matters. You weren't created to start and stop, to rise and fall. You were created to build, to lead, to break every limit that ever tried to define you. And now is not the time to pull back. Now is the time to double down, to lean into the hard days, to push through the fog, because on the other side of this resistance is the clarity, the power, and the freedom you've been chasing. And it won't come to the one who waits. It will come to the one who moves, the one who stares fear in the face and walks forward anyway, the one who's willing to outwork, outlast, and outbelieve every voice that said it wasn't possible. That's who you are. That's who you've always been. And now is the time to let the world feel that. Let them feel what happens when someone refuses to stop. They will feel it when your actions speak louder than their doubts. When your presence becomes undeniable because you didn't just talk about change, you became it. You showed them that consistency crushes opinion, that vision beats noise, That relentless pursuit will always outshine passive comfort, and the ones who once questioned your path, they'll be forced to watch you rise, because nothing is more powerful than a person who refused to quit. You don't need approval. You don't need applause. All you need is one reason, one fire inside that refuses to die, because once that flame is lit, nothing can stop it, not setbacks, not silence, not time. You carry your power with you because you earned it. You didn't wait for it. You didn't beg for it. You built it, one painful rep at a time, one hard choice after another, and that kind of strength isn't borrowed, it's owned. There's something different about someone who's chosen to become their own source of fuel. They stop waiting for a spark and start becoming the fire. They stop seeking motivation and start operating from discipline. That's when everything changes, when you stop reacting and start creating, when you stop blaming and start building, because the truth is, every excuse is just another brick in the wall between you and the life you want, and you can either keep building that wall, or you can tear it down with every decision to rise anyway. There will always be reasons to quit. There will always be moments when doubt feels louder than belief. But belief isn't a feeling, it's a decision, a choice you make every day no matter how heavy it gets. You don't need to feel unstoppable to act unstoppable. You just need to move, to show up, to remind yourself that forward is forward, even if it's slow, even if it's quiet, even if no one sees it but you. Most people stop when it gets hard. Most people pull back when the pressure rises. That's why most people stay the same. But you're not most people. You've already made it through things that tried to destroy you. You've already carried weight that would have broken others. And you're still standing, still breathing, still climbing. That means you've got more in you. That means it's not over, not even close. You don't have to see the finish line to take the next step. You don't have to know exactly how it will unfold to move with intention. All you need is the decision that says, I refuse to stop here. Because this moment, right now, is your proving ground. This is where you decide who you are when the excitement fades. This is where your real strength is forged, not in the highlight reels, but in the hidden work. The early mornings, the late nights, the lonely hours when no one is watching, but everything is changing. Every time you feel like giving up, you are standing on the edge of a breakthrough. That's why it hurts. That's why it's heavy. Because you're being stretched, not punished. You're being prepared. Growth isn't just about progress. It's about pressure. It's about resisting the urge to escape and leaning into the challenge. That's where transformation lives. You weren't made for ease. You were made for impact. And impact requires endurance. It requires patience. It requires a mindset that says, I will not let this season define me. I will let it refine me. And when you think you've reached your limit, dig deeper. You'll find more. Because limits aren't real. They're just points where most people stop. But you're not most people. You are the storm. You are the pressure. You are the one who changes the temperature when you walk in the room. Not because you're the loudest, but because you're the most certain. Because you've chosen to lead yourself when no one else would. Because you've decided to master your mind instead of being mastered by it. That's what leadership looks like. That's what greatness requires. And the reward? It's not just the goal. It's who you become chasing it. It's the strength you gain, the grit you develop, the power you unlock by facing what you used to run from. That's the win. That's the shift. And it doesn't happen in one moment. It happens in a million small ones. The ones where you say yes to discipline and no to comfort. Yes to growth and no to fear. Yes to purpose and no to everything that doesn't serve it. You've been waiting for a sign. This is it. Not because the words are special, but because you are. Because deep down you already know what needs to be done. You already know who you need to become. And now it's about becoming it. Not tomorrow, not later, now. This is your time. This is your fire. This is the moment the world begins to feel what happens when you choose not to stop. When you decide not to stop, something inside you shifts. The ordinary becomes extraordinary. The impossible starts to look like the inevitable. Because persistence is a silent power that whispers to your soul, telling you to rise even when your body screams to rest. It's not just about pushing through pain. It's about embracing it, knowing that every ounce of struggle is shaping you into a version of yourself that can never be shaken. You will face days when the world feels heavy on your shoulders, when the weight of doubt tries to crush your spirit. But remember this, pressure reveals diamonds, and you are a diamond in the making. The cracks in your journey aren't signs of weakness. They're proof that light is about to break through. Each challenge is an opportunity to shine brighter, to polish your resilience until nothing can dull your shine. There's a fierce power in refusal, The refusal to quit, to settle, to accept less than you deserve, that refusal transforms fear into fuel. It turns anxiety into action. It carves a path where there was none, simply because you decided to keep moving. When you say, "I will not stop," you're declaring war on mediocrity. You're choosing a life of relentless pursuit over comfortable complacency. Don't let the comfort of the familiar steal your greatness. Comfort is a slow killer of dreams. It's the gentle voice that tells you to rest just a little longer, to wait for a better day, to lower your standards so you can fit in. But you weren't made to fit in. You were made to stand out, to disrupt, to break the mold, to build something so powerful that it changes everything, not just for you but for everyone watching you rise. Your future self is watching right now, waiting for you to prove you're worthy of the dreams you carry. Every small decision you make today either builds or breaks that trust. When you choose discipline over distraction, you're telling your future self, "I'm serious about this. I'm willing to work when no one's looking." And that's the foundation of greatness. The quiet, relentless effort nobody sees until the moment you explode into success. Remember, motivation alone is fleeting. It's the discipline that follows through when motivation fades that creates real results. It's waking up early on cold mornings. It's showing up after failures. It's doing the work when no one else cares. That's where champions are born. That's where legends are forged. Not in moments of ease, but in moments of choice. Choosing progress over comfort, persistence over pain, action over doubt. The world will test you. It will challenge you. It will try to convince you that you're not enough. But what you believe about yourself is what will carry you through. You must believe in your worth, your strength, and your capacity to overcome. Because belief is the seed of every victory. It's the invisible force that makes the impossible possible. And when you feed that belief with action, you become unstoppable. You are capable of more than you realize. You have a well of strength within you that runs deeper than any struggle you face. Every setback is just a setup for a comeback. Every obstacle is an invitation to rise higher. And when you finally embrace this truth, you step into a power that no circumstance can take away. You become the master of your fate, the captain of your soul. No one can walk your path for you. No one can carry your dreams or live your purpose. It's yours and yours alone. So own it fiercely, fight for it relentlessly. Protect it with every fiber of your being, because the world needs what only you can give. Your story, your vision, your relentless heart, they matter. And when you refuse to stop, you light the way for others to do the same. This is your call to action. Not tomorrow, not someday. Now stand up, lock eyes with your fears and refuse to blink. Harness every ounce of pain, every doubt, every rejection, and turn it into the power to keep going. Because greatness isn't born from ease. It's born from the courage to never stop, no matter what. When you look back years from now, what do you want to see? A life half lived? Or a life that roared with purpose, resilience, and unstoppable drive? The choice is yours. But right here, right now, the decision to keep moving forward will define everything. So dig deep, stand tall, and let the world see what happens when you say, loud and clear, "I will not stop." Every step forward, no matter how small, is a declaration of war against every excuse that tries to hold you back. You are not here to wait for life to be easy. You are here to claim what is yours, to carve your name into the fabric of time with sweat, sacrifice, and unwavering commitment. The difference between those who reach their dreams and those who watch from the sidelines is the refusal to give up when the going gets tough. That refusal turns dreams into reality. The journey is not about perfection, it's about perseverance. Progress doesn't require flawless conditions, it demands persistent action. You may stumble, you may fall, but what matters is that you rise again and again, refusing to be defeated by temporary setbacks. Each time you get back up, you build an unbreakable spirit, a mind trained to conquer fear, pain, and doubt. This is the kind of strength that can't be taught. It must be earned in the trenches of persistence. Think about the power locked inside the moment you resist quitting. That split second when you say, "No, I'm not done yet." That moment is the pivot point. It's the moment where ordinary people separate themselves from the extraordinary. Because everyone faces pain and frustration, but only the relentless choose to push through. Only those who say no to giving up become architects of their destiny. You have already invested too much to stop now. The nights you sacrificed, the early mornings, the battles you fought within yourself, none of it was wasted. It was all preparation for this exact moment. The moment when you decide to rise, to move forward with more fire, more focus, and more faith than ever before. And trust this, the universe respects persistence. It honors the grind, Doors open for those who keep knocking. It's easy to fall into the trap of comparison, to measure your progress against others and feel discouraged. But your journey is unique. Your path is unlike anyone else's. When you compare, you rob yourself of your power. Instead, look inward. Celebrate your small victories. Recognize your growth, because every step forward is a triumph, no matter how slow or unseen it may feel. Discipline is the bridge between where you are and where you want to be. It's the silent champion that carries you when motivation fades. Motivation is like the sun, bright and warming but temporary. Discipline is the earth beneath your feet, steady, reliable, and unyielding. When you cultivate discipline, you create momentum that can't be stopped. You set yourself up to win, not once, but over and over again. The mind is a battlefield, and your thoughts are the weapons. Guard them carefully. Feed your mind with belief, determination, and vision. Starve it of doubt, fear, and excuses. What you believe about yourself shapes your reality. If you tell yourself you're not strong enough, smart enough, or worthy, that's the truth you'll live by. But if you decide you're capable of anything, that belief becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy. Resilience isn't just bouncing back from failure. It's bouncing forward with more strength, more wisdom, and more courage. It's about learning from every mistake and using it as fuel to propel yourself higher. The strongest steel is forged in the hottest fires. And your struggles? They're the fires that refine you, shape you, and make you unstoppable. Remember, the path to greatness is not linear. It's filled with twists, turns, and unexpected hurdles. But each challenge is an opportunity to grow, to adapt, and to prove to yourself just how far you can go. The people who achieve extraordinary things are not those who avoided failure. They are those who refuse to let failure define them. Your story is still being written. The chapters ahead are yours to shape with every decision you make. Will you choose comfort, or will you choose greatness? Will you settle for less, or will you demand more from yourself? The answers lie in the choices you make right now, in the moments when no one is watching but you. This is not a moment to hesitate. It's a moment to commit, to push harder, to dig deeper, to rise above the noise of doubt and fear. Because greatness is not reserved for a chosen few, it's earned by those who refuse to stop no matter what. You are one of those people. The power to change your life is in your hands. Stand firm in that truth. Let it fuel every move you make. Your future self is counting on you to keep going, to keep fighting, to keep believing. This is your time, this is your fight. And when you refuse to stop, you don't just change your story, you change the world around you. There is a power in your refusal to quit that shakes the very foundation of doubt. When the world tries to pull you down with distractions, with whispers that you're not enough, your decision to keep going becomes a roar that drowns out every negative voice. That roar is the sound of your spirit fighting back, of your heart refusing to accept anything less than your full potential. It's the sound of victory before it even arrives. You've seen how easy it is to stop, to give in to exhaustion, to settle for less, to choose comfort over challenge. But here's the truth. The easiest path will never lead you to greatness. The road less traveled is the one paved with sweat, sacrifice, and 1,000 moments where you chose to rise instead of rest. This is the path that molds champions not by accident, but by relentless, deliberate choice. Your mind is a battleground where every thought either lifts you higher or pulls you deeper. When you feel the weight of doubt creeping in, that's when you must fight the hardest. Reprogram your inner voice to be your greatest ally, not your worst enemy. Tell yourself you are stronger than the challenge, smarter than the setback, and more determined than the fear. Because when your mind believes it, your body will follow, and then unstoppable is what you become. It's tempting to wait for the perfect moment, the ideal conditions, the clear sign, the surge of motivation. But perfection is a myth. The perfect moment is now. The only time guaranteed is this one. Every second you wait is a second lost.